Alright, welcome to a special edition. This is not the homework solution, but this is going to be going over the worksheet solution that we did in class. Some of you struggled and some of you asked if I would have made a video on this. Okay, so it's on the dilation worksheet. It's going to cover the questions that we did today on August 29th in class, where we figure out the drawing dilations based on the scale factor. So I'm going to be covering questions 19, 20, 21, 22, okay, which was on the back side of the worksheet, as well as questions 12, and I could do 13 if you want, and also 14. Okay, so those are the questions that I'm going to be covering in this video, and it's in the dilation worksheet. Alright, okay, so here I go. So I have questions 12, 13, 14, 19, 20, 21, and 22 down here. So I'm going to do 19, 20, 21, and 22 first to help us along. Okay, so 19 and 20, 21 and 22 ask us to draw the dilation. Okay, what is the dilation? Okay, you just have to remember the definition of the dilation. So if you look at your core concept, a dilation, okay, is a change of an object's size. Okay, you could go from either a reduction where it gets smaller, or you could get an enlargement where it gets bigger. Is a change of an object size, okay, by multiplying, okay, by multiplying by a scale factor. I want you to remember that. Okay, it is when you multiply by the scale factor. Okay, it's when you multiply by the scale factor. So I'm going to leave that up here so we could have that as reference. Okay, keyword multiply by the scale factor. So what is the scale factor? This here, this is called the scale factor. So this is the scale factor. So what can you do to the scale factor? This scale factor is going to multiply to this point and multiply to this point. Good? So let's start. Our first step is always to write down our points. So I'm going to write it. Okay. So A, the point of A is 2, 0, and B is the point 2, 2. What do we need to do here? Okay, we need to do a dilation by multiplying by the scale factor. We want to multiply by the scale factor. So we are going to get the number. So we are going to get our points. Right? And we're going to do what to it? Multiply 2 to everything. Multiply to 2 to everything. Okay? So the way that looks like is this. Okay? So we have to do 2 times 2, 2 times the 0, 2 times the 2, and 2 times this 2. Alright? So when we multiply by the scale factor, it becomes the A prime. What is 2 times 2? 4. What is 2 times 0? 0. Okay, once we multiply, that becomes B prime. What's 2 times 2? 4. What is 2 times 2? 4. Here are our new points after the dilation. How do I know it went through a dilation? Because I multiplied by the scale factor. So let's just graph this. Where is 4, 0? Notice this is x and this is y. So 4 in the y, 4 in the x, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 0 in the y. So this is considered A prime. Next, let's do B prime. 4 in the X, 4 in the Y. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here you go, and this is going to be called B prime. These two link up, so we're going to connect it with a line. So this is the line after I performed a dilation to this line. So the red line is how the object looks like afterwards. This makes sense because again I multiply by the scale factor. The scale factor is 2, so there is an enlargement. Good? Alright, let's do 20. Okay, what are we going to do to this? We are going to perform a dilation. What is a dilation? A dilation is when we change the size by multiplying by the scale factor. But we need the original point. The original point was A is 2, comma 4, and B is 6, comma 2. What are we going to do to it? We are going to multiply by the scale factor. So this 1/2 is going to be multiplied to every one of this. Alright. So the 1/2 is going to be multiplied into every one of this. Alright. So let me just rewrite it. So it should look like this. A prime is going to be when the 1/2 is going to multiply to the 2. Then the 1/2 then the 1/2 is also going to be multiplied to the 4. Then the 1/2 is also going to be multiplied to the 6. And the 1/2 is also going to be multiplied to the 2. Good. Again, we write the prime because it's the dilation that is occurring. So let's do that. If this doesn't make sense to you, you have to do this in a calculator. Alright? So I could show it to you right here. So what is 1/2 times 2? Alright, put this over 1. This becomes 2 over 2, which just becomes 1. So this becomes 1. Alright, do you see how this is just half of this? What's 1/2 times 4? That becomes 2 because that is half of 4. What is B? What is 1/2 times 6 or half of 6, which is 3? What is half of 2 or 1/2 times 2, which is 1? Okay, here are your new points. The first one is it's X comma Y. Okay, 1 in the X, 2 in the Y, and we call this A prime. B is 3, 1, 2, 3, 1 in the Y. We call this B prime. This is X, and this is Y. Now we could connect it with a line. Okay, this is the new image of the original that went through a dilation. This dilation is a reduction. It got smaller because here the scale factor is less than 1. Good? Alright, let's look at this one. Okay? And we are going over 21 here. Okay? So what are we going to do here? We're going to go through a scale. It's going to go through a dilation. Okay? Let's just grab the original points. Okay? We have to write down the original points. Again, a lot of you are not knowing what to do because you are not even writing down the original points first. You're already trying to solve it. Don't. Just write down the information first. Alright? So I'm just copying what I see. Good. Now I want to go through the dilation by what? Dilation by multiplying by the scale factor. Alright, I'm going to multiply by the scale factor. What is the scale factor? This is the scale factor right here. This is the scale factor right here. The scale factor is 3. Okay, so A prime is going to be 3 times the original point, which is -1. Then the 3 is going to be multiplied to the 1 here. Good. Okay, I don't know if there's enough room. Let me just write it under it, okay? B prime is going to be 3 times 1 and 3 times, what's the point? 1. C prime is going to be, again, multiplied by the scale factor, which is 3. 3 times -1 and 3 times, and that's going to be the 0. Okay, so let's do this. Okay, what does A prime become? Okay, what does this simplify to be? Okay, so 3 times -1, look, 3 times -1 becomes negative 3. Okay, what does 3 times 1 become? That becomes 3. Okay, what does 3 times 1 become? 3. What does 3 times 1 become? 3. You see, it's just simple multiplication here. What's 3 times -1? Again, if negatives trick you, plug in a calculator. Okay, this is -3. What is 3 times 0? Again, plug it into a calculator. Doesn't make sense. But 3 times anything times 0 is just 0. There you go. So now we can actually graph these points. A1, which is -3, 3. Again, this is your x, this is your y. -3, 1, 2, 3. Positive in the x, +3 in the y. So this is your new A prime. Okay, B prime, 3, 1, 2, 3. Positive and 3 in the y, 1, 2, 3. This is your B prime. Negative C prime, -3 in the x, 1, 2, 3. This is -3. Go down 0. There you go. This is C prime. Okay, now connected by a straight line. I tried to make it straight. Okay, there you go. This makes sense for it to be a enlargement because the scale factor here is greater than 3. It's greater than 1. It's 3. Okay. Next, ooh, we have 4 points here. Okay. So again, what are we going to do here? We are going to perform a dilation. How do we perform a dilation? We are going to multiply the points by the scale factor. Okay? So let's grab the original point. A is 0, 0. B is 3, 3. C is 6, 0. And D is 3, -3. What are we going to do to these points? We are going to multiply by the scale factor. What is the scale factor? 1/3. Again, this is the scale factor. Okay. So A prime is going to be the scale factor, which is 1/3. Going to be multiplied to the 0. Okay. Next, the 1/3 is going to multiply to the 0. B, it's going to be the 1/3. It's going to be multiplied to the 3. The 1/3 is going to multiply to the 3 in the y. Okay, C prime. The 1/3 is going to be multiplied to the 6. The 1/3 is also going to be multiplied into the 0. D. The 1/3 is going to be multiplied into the 3. The 1/3 is going to be multiplied into the -3. Okay. So let's just do it. Okay. 1/3 times 0, that just becomes 0. What is 1/3 times 0? Again, that is 0. What is 1/3 times 3? That becomes 1. What is 1/3 times 3? That is going to be 1 as well. What is 1/3 times 6? That becomes 2. What is 1/3 times 0? That will become 0. What is 1/3 times 3? That's going to be 1. What is 1/3 times -3? That is going to be -1. Right. Now I can plot it. So 0, 0, right here. This is A prime. That's 0, 0. B prime is 1, 1. So that's 1, 1. That's B prime. C prime is 2, 0. That's 2, 0. C prime. D is 1. 1 in the X, 1 in the Y. That's D prime. Okay. Now we connect it. There you go. Notice this all matches up. Okay. So this is how it looks like after this, the scale factor. Notice all of 19, 20, 21, 22, we were performing a dilation. How? We were multiplying by the scale factor. That's all we're doing. Multiplying by a scale factor, multiplying by a scale factor, multiplying by a scale factor, multiplying by a scale factor. Okay? This time, for 20, 13, and 14, it's the same thing. You're going to, write the order pair. So these are order pairs after the dilation. How do you do a dilation? You multiply by the scale factor. Okay? So let's do 12. Again, what is a dilation? You are going to multiply by the scale factor. Okay? What is the scale factor? It's this. It's the K. This is the scale factor. This is the scale factor right here. Okay? So, what happens to the A? The A is going to become A prime. We're going to multiply by 2. So 2 is going to be multiplied to the 1. Then 2 is going to be multiplied to the second 1. B prime. The 2 is going to be multiplied to the 3. And the 2 is going to be multiplied to the 1. There you go. What does this become? Let's do it. Right? What is 2 times 1? That becomes 2. Okay. What is 2 times 1? 2. What is 2 times 3? 6. What is 2 times 1? 2. There you go. This is the new point after the dilation because we multiply by the scale factor. If you want to graph it up and see it, right, you can, but these are the points after the dilation. Next, let's do, I think I asked you to skip this. We could do it if you would like. Okay. It's a little bit harder because of the 3/4. Okay. Let's do it. Alright, so what are we going to do? We are going to write the order pair after the dilation. So how do we do that? We are going to multiply by the scale factor. Good. And what is the scale factor? It is this value right there. So let's write the points. A prime is going to be when the scale factor, which is 3 over 4, multiplies into 4. Okay. And when the 3/4 multiplies to the second 4. B prime 3/4 times 8, which is the first value in the x. Then the 3/4 is going to be multiplied into the 12. Okay, good. Again, if this doesn't make sense, plug into a calculator. Right, the calculation. I could show you it. Would you like me to show you the calculation? Sure, let me show you on the side, okay? So 3 over 4 times 4, but notice any number can be turned into a fraction. When you multiply fractions, you go across. So 3 times 4 is 12. What 4 times 1 is 4. Plug this in a calculator. 12 over 4, you can what? Reduce it by pulling out a 3, a factor of 3. So pull out a factor of 3, 12 divided by 3 become, pull out a factor of 4 because 4 goes into 12 and 4 goes into 4. So what is 12 divided by 4? 3. 4 divided by 4 becomes 1. So this just becomes 3. So this here just becomes 3. 3/4 times 4, it's the same thing. This became 3. 3 times 4 becomes, hold on, if you do that, 4, 8, that becomes 1, 2, 6. This becomes 6. You know what? Let me just write it out. It's going to be so much easier if I can just write it out and double check. 4 times 3/4 times 8 over 1. This becomes 1. This becomes 2. Right? I simplified it across. 3 times 2 is 6. Yeah, so it is 6. Right? And let's do that on the side as well. 3/4 times 12 over 1. What's 3 times 12? Well, I can simplify this first. This becomes 1, this becomes 3, because I took out a factor of 3 from both. 3 times 3, that just becomes 9. So this is just 9. Okay. Good. So those are all the points, okay? Let me just, if you don't want to see this, I mean, this is useless. That's just side work. Okay, there you go. That's A prime, B prime. Good. Next one, right? 3/4, that is a reduction, so that's why it's less than 1. So that's why all the points here are smaller. Okay? All right. Perform a dilation to these points. What is a dilation? It's when we multiply by a scale factor to change its size. All right. Again, if you do not know what the scale factor is, it's this letter K. Okay, the first one is A, which is A. The scale factor is 5, so I will color code that for you. 5 times 0, you already know what that is. Alright, scale factor is going to be multiplied to the y value, which is 0 right there. The b prime is right here. That is 5 is going to be multiplied into the -3, and the 5 is going to be multiplied to the 2. Okay, what does this become? 5 times 0, that becomes 0. 5 times 0, that became 0. 5 times -3, -15. And 5 times 2 became 10. Right? Because 5 times 2 is 10. So here are your points. Okay? The scale factor is bigger than 1, so it became an enlargement. Makes sense because look at the b value, extremely large. Okay? So there you go. This is what you need to know this is what you need to know in terms of the quiz and the state test and the district test, is this idea of how dilation affects each point. And it affects each point because by having the scale factor multiply to each value of the points. Okay? So if you need to review anything and watch it over and over again, okay? But that covers the major part of the dilation. There you go.